Alright, when we're creating drawings, we're going to be creating drawings both in inches and in millimeters. This week in the homework actually calls for a drawing using the metric system. We've just created a template for in the US system using inches, and I want to show you how to modify that template to make it appropriate for use with the metric system. So I'm going to go ahead and start a new drawing using my template, Andy Inches, and this drawing has my page layout and it has my model space with all of my different layers on it. But there are lots of different things that happen when you change from drawing in millimeters to inches or vice versa. Okay, just think about the dimensions of the page. Uh, the page is 8.5 by 11 inches, but each inch has 24.4 millimeters in it. So that means that the page is now going to be about 275 millimeters wide by about 200 and some millimeters tall. So this makes our life a little bit complicated in AutoCAD, and there's lots of little tweaks we need to make in order to switch from metric to English systems. I'm going to show you how to do that. Lots of different ways to do that. This is the way that I like to do it. If you have another way that works for you, that's great. Just make sure you understand how to get your drawings printing and scaling correctly when it's time to do that. The first thing we're going to change is actually in our layers. So our line types that we chose here, these were for inch setup. So the dashes in a dashed line for an inch layout are going to be much longer than they are in a metric setting. Okay, so I'm going to change to a different line type here. I'm going to go to the ISO dash. Okay, ISO is an international standard, and it is actually metric. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that for my center. Oh, excuse me, I didn't want to do that for my center line. I want to change. Let me add the ISO center line. There we go, long dash, short dash. Is there an ISO center? I think that's the best one I got there, is the long dash, short dash. One up. Okay, we'll load that. And we'll use that guy for my center line. For hidden lines is the one that I want to use the ISO dashed line for. Okay, so I got that change made. The other change I'm going to make is you can change limits here. And you can see that the limits of my drawing were at 0, 0, and 12, 9, and I want to change those to be 280, 216. All right, and that just changes about how big your drawing space is. But in reality, model space goes to infinity and beyond, as Buzz Lightyear would say. Layout space is really where we need to make some changes. Okay, so previously in layout space, if we had gone to page setup, print, page setup, we can modify our layout. So let's modify this, and it shows that the paper size is 8.5 by 11 inches. This is good. This is what we want it to say, and we printed with a scale of 1 to 1, where 1 inch in the drawing was equal to, or excuse me, 1 inch on the paper was equal to 1 unit in the drawing. We want to change this now, where we say 1 inch on the drawing 1 inch on the paper is equal to 25.4 units in the drawing. I'm going to click this and say OK, and I'll close that. Now look what has happened. My drawing and viewport and title block all appear to be very, very small on my paper. Okay, the paper is actually still 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. What has changed is that now it's saying for every inch on my paper, each unit in the drawing is it takes 25.4 of those units to get 1 inch on the paper. Alright, so what does that mean to me? It means I need to grab all of this, type scale, specify a base point. I'll specify this point here, and I'm going to scale this by a factor of 25.4. Okay, and now I will zoom, extents, and we can see that now my border goes around and it fits the paper much, much better. A couple other things I need to change. My text here, the boxes were still too small, so I just grab them and change them. Not a big deal. Okay, this material box, just double click. I'm clicking right there to drag and change the width of the box, and we're getting in good shape. All right, so not a significant change there. It looks like maybe I need to center this a little bit better on my paper. Grab that, and then I'll type move and zoom in here. I'll select a base point of around here and zoom out so I can see kind of where we're going. That looks a little bit better to me. Okay, so that's a little more centered on the drawing. Now, why did I do this? Why did I scale that? And why is it important to have a metric template? Let's go back to model space. And in model space, maybe I'm going to draw something. Let's draw a rectangle that is 150 millimeters long by 50 millimeters tall. So that in inches, if we zoom extents, here's my rectangle. In inches, that rectangle, 150 millimeters, is right around 6 inches, and 50 millimeters is around 2 inches. So that's about a 6-inch long by 2-inch tall rectangle. If I go to layout space and I enter my viewport, and I'll do zoom extents, okay, and I'm going to change my viewport scale to be 1 to 1. All right. Now, this is what I want. If I want my viewport scale set to 1 to 1, which I have it down here, okay, that allows me then to print my rectangle that I drew there at 1 to 1 scale, meaning that when I print this, it will print out exactly 150 millimeters long by 50 millimeters tall. If I had drawn this in inches, I would have to use a really, really funky scale factor on my viewport window here. Okay? There, again, many ways to do this in AutoCAD. I find this to be the most productive way, is to take your inch, do the process I've just done to change it to be metric. I'm going to go back to model space. I'm going to erase my rectangle, and now I'm going to save this. Save as DWT Andy millimeter. I'll go ahead and replace it, and I'm going to say this is a normal metric drawing template. Okay, measurement is metric. Say OK, and now that is saved. So now if I'm going to draw something in millimeters, when I go to start a new drawing, I go ahead and I select Andy millimeter, open that guy up. I can draw, for instance, a circle right here. I'll give it a diameter of 75 maybe. And when I go to my layout space, that guy is set. My viewport's already set at 1 to 1, and I can see everything's going to work out fine there. All right. Any questions? Feel free to shoot me an email or ask away on the discussion board. Thanks a lot.